Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this video I'm going to talk about the Forex markets a bit. Part of what we do over at Simpler Futures is, kind of a nod to what I did for many years over at Simpler Forex. And I believe the futures and Forex markets are really so interwoven. There's a powerful, I think, effect on making sure you understand currencies as well as commodities. So I'm going to talk to you guys about something that I'm starting to do now. It's a tactic that you can utilize as well, and that is the way in which we've probably seen about as much strength as we're going to see out of the dollar, at least in the near term. We can see that this is more of a choppy market at the bottom of a downtrend. I'm not looking or expecting new lows on the dollar until the euro starts to organize and start giving us new highs, and I don't suspect the euro is going to do that anytime soon, because it seems the talk out of the ECB is that they're going to taper again, but they're going to extend the program out again. So that means that it's really not a clean taper, because we're not ending the program and then reducing asset purchases. We're reducing asset purchase while extending the program. Very smart way to keep your currency from strengthening too much while you're tapering down to zero. Very smart. With that in mind, the euro turns into an overbought, oversold conversation, as does the dollar, as we look at the dollar index here. I think ultimately the euro does get up to 125. So really right now, I've got a trade I'm looking at 117 as an oversold buy. We've done this before. I'm just looking to do it again. Now, in the meanwhile, I think there are some really interesting weakness and strength stories out there, but I'm tired of looking for euro strength and dollar weakness to help out. So we're looking at a way to look at, say, buying or selling other currencies, but not relying on expectations of euro strength or dollar weakness to get us there. So a good example is we're watching right now the Australian dollar weaken, as the Reserve Bank of Australia really has seemed to signal that they're in no rush to hike rates in 2018. And we're seeing, I think, probably a fresh downtrend in Aussie US or AD futures. But one of the ways I'll look at it is not against the euro and not against the US. I'm not going to look at euro Aussie, nor will I look at Aussie US. I'll look at Australian dollar versus Canadian dollar, because we do have a fairly hawkish bank in the BOC. If we see stronger crude, while I don't think crude and the loonie are really that synced up right now, it sure can't hurt the Canadian dollar. So what I'm looking for are opportunities to wait for an overbought Aussie Canada and sell into it. Now, the sell Aussie narrative works against the Canadian dollar, but what if the RBA starts to signal a shift? That's when Aussie New Zealand makes more sense, to buy an oversold Aussie New Zealand. It allows me to avoid right now the chop in the dollar and the euro, and yet I can still look for an opportunity to play the Aussie, but against, in one case, the stronger loonie, the stronger Canadian dollar, or in this case, the weaker New Zealand. And that allows me to look for both a sell Aussie trade and both a buy Aussie trade, depending upon which narrative I think starts to organize. And there's a number of ways we can do this also in the pound. If I think the pound is going to continue to struggle under the political uncertainty of how Brexit is going to happen, then I can look at something like Pound Canada and short an overbought Pound Canada. On the flip side, if I think, wait a minute, is the worst priced in? I mean, the pound isn't taking it too badly when you look at the pound US. It's not like it's completely falling out of bed. Right? It's just chopping around. But if I like the idea, perhaps, of buying pound, why not do it against the New Zealand dollar, which has been, for the most part, a weaker story? So you'll see how I'm utilizing the Canadian dollar and the New Zealand dollar in this way. So the bottom line is, if and when you've got major narratives that are not cooperating by giving you trend or clarity, look for other relationships, because that's the great thing about Forex. And there are many futures Forex contracts that allow you to trade minors and cross rates. So the thing to remember is find the contrast. Look for where there's strength. Try to play stories that you want to short against stories that are stronger. and vice versa. And this is one way I'm doing it right now in the Forex markets. I'll see you in the next update.